Hello, everyone. This is Randy Malden with Supply Leaders Academy, and today we are going to talk about the update to the CPSM certification exam that is happening this year. In fact, it has already started, and you may not be aware of it. Okay, so we want to make sure that you understand what's going on so that you can be best positioned to earn your certification this year. Or if you already know someone who is looking for the certification, make sure they have the right information so they can make the right decisions. Now, here's our disclaimer. One disclaimer here is the one I want to point out is ISM's consent to allow the usage of CPSM logo is not an endorsement by ISM of this program or its content or its instruction. Just want to be clear on that we have been trained by ISM, but ISM does not endorse any specific program, but it does train our trainers, and we have a reputation, which you are going to see a little bit later, to make sure that you know you are working with the right company. Now, is this your team at the end of the day? They're happy, they're motivated, but they're really kind of beat up. You don't want to have a team like that because every day you're fighting to keep those profits. You're fighting against the economy, your vendors, the competition, anything and everything it takes to maintain those profits. And you want a team that looks like this. Now, the way you maintain a team like this is to make sure that everyone is operating from a foundation of professionalism, which is the CPSM, the Certified Professional in Supply Management, where you demonstrate mastery of the fundamentals. Now, your opportunities out there are, that 70% of CEOs feel that supply chains are not optimized, which means they're leaving money on the table. They're supply chain introverts, meaning they think about supply chain after the project starts. Supply chain improvements are not incentivized, but you have to think about it. When you save money in supply chain, it's immediate profit. Immediate profit. Where when you make sales, those sales may or may not be profitable. But when you optimize your supply chain and you are saving money, you are increasing your profit all the time. And one thing I want to point out is technology is not a tool. You got to have people that understand the data produced by the technology, knows how to use the tools. And CEOs, 15% of CEOs believe they could not survive a supply chain disaster, which when you have good supply chain management, which are some of the things we talk about when we're going through our training, it helps you ensure you always have the best supply chain possible. Now, the results of success are when you reduce your cost by 2.5%, it equals the same amount of profit as increasing sales by 10%. Now, of course, this relies on your margins, but you have to think about it. When you save $100,000, it's $100,000 right to the bottom line. When you sell $100,000, you might get a few $1,000s to the bottom line, but you don't know yet until you actually deliver on those sales. Studies show that 73% more profitable, meaning companies that are using supply chain management as a capability, not just as a process, are 73% more profitable than companies that do not. And you'll see a 40% return on your investment on supply chain improvements. Now, what are our concerns? As you can see today, the supply chain is always under attack with the economic improvements. How do you maintain your pricing? Issues with tariffs around the world, other things that if you're not looking at your supply chain every single day, are making a big difference on your profitability, even possibly your survivability. Retailers, who are the best of the best in supply chains, Walmart, Kroger, Costco, all these big companies here, they look at their supply chain on a regular basis. And just because you're a small company or a medium-sized company doesn't mean you shouldn't be either. You want to model the best, so think about it. These folks are managing their supply chain. How do you know you are properly managing your supply chain? New technology, new things, disruptors, blockchain. How is it revolutionizing supply chain management? And how is integrating your supply chain throughout your supply chain through all different levels, not only inside your organization, your vendors. Think about that. And how you do that is managing your supply chain. Look back in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. Amateurs discuss tactics, professionals discuss logistics. Logistics is also known as supply chain. What do I buy? How do I move it? How do I get it where I need it to be so that I can be successful? Plans are worthless. Planning is everything. Eisenhower. And when you're planning, you want to make sure it's taught at all level, that you include supply chain. You're looking at the entire world. You're anticipating problem. You're exercising and rehearsing your supply chain, and it's driven by process. And the reason we drive processes is because you can improve your processes by measuring certain steps in the process to make sure that you are consistently successful. The line between disorder and order lies in logistics. Sun Tzu, the art of war. Business is war. If you think about it, it's going about trying to find your objectives, imposing your will upon your competition so that you can serve your customers best. How do you do that? Supply chain is your greatest source of stress because it affects not only your ability to deliver to your customers, but also your profitability. And if you are a nonprofit or a government or agency, your ability to manage supply chain determines how much you can do. If you don't spend your money well, you don't do a lot of things. If you spend your money exceptionally well, you can get an awful lot done. And when you're certified as a team to the highest standards, you transform from daily crisis to predictable resources. And how we do that is through CPSM certification, which I'm going to explain to you today. Now, this is my background. I was in the Marine Corps for over 20 years and did all types of supply chain down to the maintenance level, right down to the user, all the way up to planning supply chain for global operations. And what you see here is a graphic of my career over 20 years all over the world with my family, doing all types of things. And it helped me understand the value of supply chain and why it makes a difference. I've written these books. You can find these on Amazon.com. Supply Chain Management by the United States Marine Corps, Supply Chain Analysis, how to get more profitability from your supply chain, and how to pass the CPSM exams, which we use a very, very specific process so that you are successful the first time out. So let's talk about the CPSM and why you want it. You earn a higher salary, 8 to 10% more than your peers who are not certified. You demonstrate value, you prove success, and that's how you earn the higher salaries. It's not just because you're certified, it's because you have the skills now to implement into your organization that make a huge difference, and you are able to show more value, which in turn makes you more valuable to your organization. And is it required at the executive level? Word is yes. If you want to be at the higher levels, you have to demonstrate your success. Now, up to this point, it's been experience, but as we move forward, and I'd say move forward since the last 5 years, it's like, how do I know you're the best chief procurement officer I have? Can you demonstrate that? When you have a master's degree, an MBA, that's a very generic degree, but when you have a master's degree with a specialty, a demonstrated specialty in supply chain management, you are known and to be valuable to your organization. It can be a difference in position. We had one person go through our training that once she earned the CPSM certification, she was offered a higher position because of the certification alone. Another reason to invest the time to get this done now and make a big difference. Why the CPSM program was developed? Well, the profession has transformed over the few years. CPSM meets the requirements needed to perform this job, and it is the standard, the highest standard in the world when it comes to supply chain management is the Certified Professional in Supply Management, CPSM. What is supply chain management? Very simply, the right stuff in the right place, the right time, the right quantity, and the right quality. That when you achieve these 5 things, you have implemented supply chain management. And there's a lot of complicated definitions out there, but if you can boil it down to these 5 things, you know you're doing the right things. Now, how the program was developed, they did market research. They looked at the jobs of companies generating $1 billion or more in annual revenue, and they determined what knowledge they needed for those jobs. Now, this certification has been around since 2009. It used to be the CPM, now it's the CPSM. In 2016, they reviewed all the content and updated the exams, and now in 2018, they are releasing the new content and the course materials for you to make sure that you are at the top of your game in supply chain management. Now, what does it take to be a CPSM? If you have a bachelor's degree, you need 3 years experience. If you do not have a bachelor's degree, you simply need 5 years experience. Once you have those 2 criteria, you need to pass the CPSM exams 1, 2, and 3, and then apply for certification. Now, the beauty of this particular certification is that you don't have to have the experience before you sit for the exam. So if you're new to supply chain management and aren't sure what to do, go through the training, learn the basics, get the exams and pass those exams, and then gain the experience and apply for the certification later. We've had several people who go through our training because they just don't understand supply management. So they get a 3-day boot camp that teaches them all the specifics, which makes them immediately more valuable, immediately more effective in their job position. So if you're watching this presentation like, well, I'm not sure if I have the experience or if I should move forward or not, my answer to you is yes, move forward, get the training. Use the exams as validation of your training and then apply for the certification when you have the experience. Now, once you earn the CPSM certification, you have to recertify every 3 years by earning 60 continuing education hours, which when you join our program, we have a means of you earning those continuing education hours consistently all the time. If for some reason you're not able to earn those continuing education hours, you can retake the CPSM exam for 20 continuing education hours during the last year of certification or during the grace period, where if you miss the 3 year period, then you have another year, another 12 months to earn those CEHs, and then you can recertify moving forward. Now, the way to find out what the cost, the application process, the registration process, all of that, if you go to ISM, the Institute for Supply Management website, they'll give you all that information. You can learn that. Basically, what you do is you go through our training. Once you go through our training, you sit for the exams. Once you sit for the exams, you pass the exams, then you apply for the certification. We cover that during our training, exactly what you need to do. Now, the reason you're here today is you want to know what has changed. How is the latest version of CPSM different from the older version? Well, let me share with you. Here is the current content, or the things that are in the current exam, which, by the way, is no longer available. Starting June 1st, they were no longer providing the study material for this current exam. Meaning, and what that means is if you've started it, you can finish it. You can finish it this year all the way up until February 2019. You can go through the exam. So if you have the materials and you've just been sitting around not doing anything, now's the time to get started, and we can help you with that. We have our online training for the current content that you can go ahead and go through, invest in that, and get certified this year, and we make sure that you are successful. And the same things that we're going to talk about a little bit later will help you understand why you will be successful. However, if you have not started anything, or if you're currently in it and you decide you want to go for the new certification just because you don't want to have to worry about it, then you can go ahead and start now. And what you're looking at is the new content is that it's changed. You can notice here you have foundations of supply management, effective supply management, and leadership of supply management. Where in the new exam you have supply management core, which is 180 questions. Before, the exam 1 was 165 questions. Exam 2, supply management integration, 165 questions, and exam 3, 165 questions, leadership and transformation in supply management. See the different categories, different tasks. Okay, you can just see there is a difference between the current test and the new version being released right now. Okay, so just know that there's difference. And what do you need specifically? Here's a comparison side by side of the different task areas that you can look at: contract and negotiation, cost of finance, international, social responsibility, sourcing, supply relationship management, and in the supply management core, sourcing, category management, negotiations, which is over here, legal contracts, again over here, supply relationship management, cost and price, financial and financial analysis. So very similar things, just in a different order. One of the big things that's been added is category management as a specialty, something that you need to understand and be able to do in today's current supply chain management best practices. Now, when you move on to exam 2, you can see that they focus on supply, sales, and operations planning. Now, this is a great addition to the supply chain career field, because when we're not involved in sales and operations planning, then supply chain becomes a barrier to their success. And we don't want to be a barrier. We want to be enabled to help them be successful. So we need to be involved in the sales planning and the operations planning and the marketing planning. We need to be present, but we need to be present with intelligence. And that's what they're talking about now in this new test, is they're going to talk specifically about how do I become part of that team and not just a road bump or a roadblock in their success. What do I need to do that? Okay, so it's a little bit different. Okay, you can see going back and forth. It's about integrating supply management throughout the organization. Now, for exam 3, still focused on leadership, but they're talking more about strategy, developing and engaging your stakeholders, coaching your people, implementing systems, still risk and compliance, and still, strategic sourcing, which has been moved over here in the core, as well as ethics and social responsibility. That's risk and compliance. Okay, that's also discussed as well as exam 1. No matter which version you go for, the current or the new, these exams build on each other. You need to understand all 3 areas before you take one exam. So you want to go through a focused effort to cover all three exams and then choose which one is your best exam and go for that certification exam first. The reference material you want to use, you have the ISM CPSM learning system, which is a great system of online material. They also have a print version also available for you, and then other ISM materials which you cover when you go through your diagnostic test. It tells you what you need to know, and you go research those resources when you need them to make sure that you're successful. Now, this is included in our packages, in our training packages. It's part of what we give to you to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful to earn your CPSM certification. Why you want to work with us? Because we have the experience. We have the experience. We have the experience of guaranteeing success of our candidates since 2010. Either you pass or we pay the re-exam fees, so long as you meet the terms of our guarantee, which you can find on our website. Okay, we are the only organization that guarantees your success, willing to put our money to make sure that you're successful. We're not going to teach you something that's not going to be applicable. We don't expect you to invest in training. We expect you're investing in certification, and that's what we're going to guarantee to make sure that you achieve that. So again, so long as you meet the terms of our guarantee. The testimonials, we have several testimonials of people going through our certification and earning the certification that they need for their professionalism. You can see these on LinkedIn. Go to my profile, LinkedIn Randall Malden. You can see all these different testimonials and realize that we are the organization that you want to use to make sure that you pass this certification the first time. You don't want to waste time doing things that are not going to be successful. Instead, you want to use a program that makes a difference. And we've been doing this again since 2010 with guaranteeing the results since then to make sure people are successful all the way through. And we are adapting our course to the new content using the same fundamental processes that make everyone successful in their training. Okay. One of the testimonials I like to point out to folks is this one from Tom Peters, where they found such value in the CPSM certification, they made it part of their executive training program. That people that are going to be executives inside their company have to achieve their CPSM certification. Remember before where I mentioned, is it required for executives? Here's an example of a company that's making it a requirement for their executives to get the certification so that they know that they're thinking about supply chain when they're developing plans, operational plans, and sales plans for their organization. Now, what do you get today? Is that when you put together our program, you look at our program, look at what else is out there. You have ISM list price, okay, $6,682. If you're a member, $5,302. But when you join our program, everything is included to include our pass guarantee for $2,497. But it gets better today because when you take advantage before July 13th, you get the best, craziest special offer ever, and that's for $19.97 until July 13th. Get in on the super early bird so that you can be successful right now. Now, we start training September 10th, so you can go ahead, join now, lock in your space at this price because after July 13th is going up to $24.97 for anyone else who joins the training because it includes everything. Think about it. I mean, we got everything. We got your online training, your live training, CPSM. You get another certification, CPSD. We have our guarantee, online training, 24/7 mind maps, group coaching, personal coaching, and our express courses, which are new in that you'll have access to 1-hour express courses that ensure you earn the continuing education hours after you earn your certification. So anything up until you earn your certification won't count. But once you earn your certification, you want to go back in and get continuing education hours. Well, you don't need to reinvest. We already have a program for you that you can use to earn your continuing education hours and so that you remain certified even 3 years from now. And if you think about all the different courses that people go through and the money they invest, why invest again? Get it all in one place at one time. So go right now to cpsmtraining.com/store and you can take advantage of this special. It's already set up so that you can go in, take a look at the offer, guarantee right there, click, pay, you're in the program. We start training September 10th, and I look forward to seeing you in the training very, very soon. If you have any questions, just shoot us an email at info@cpsmtraining.com, and we will respond to your questions to make sure that you have everything you need to know to make sure that you are successful. If you need to go ahead and apply for approval through your company, send us an email. That way we know that you are at least trying to get approval, and we'll lock in the price for you. However, after July 13th, the price is going up by $500, which is still half of what you'd pay anywhere else. So take advantage of this now. We'd love to see you in the training. We look forward to having a great course, new course this fall so that you're successful. Talk to you soon.